You are listening to Directions from a Spiritual Tour Guide podcast. I am your host, Chanel Scott. I'm a psychic medium and energy healer who has been supporting those on a spiritual journey for over a decade. I'm your tour guide into the world of the unknown, showing you that the magic of the universe is at your fingertips. I believe spirituality is simple and fun, and this podcast will make it easily accessible, giving you the real talk on all things divine and spiritual, helping you to step into the flow. Manifesting your dreams because we all deserve to be living our best life. Are you ready for an adventure? Hello, sunshines, and this is episode number 3 of Directions from Your Spiritual Tour Guide podcast. And in this episode, we are going to talk about the number one thing that you can do to up your manifestation game. My name is Chanel Scott, and I am your spiritual tour guide coming to you from the heart and soul. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Manifestation is one of those things that has really taken a front seat. People want to know, and they want to create, and they want to create their dream lives. They want to manifest their dream lives. And it is definitely something that comes up often in sessions with me. And it's questions I get asked all the time. So I definitely love this topic, and it's something that I'm always working on. Who doesn't want to manifest their dream lives? I think it really kind of became this front seat thing when The Secret came out. That was like such a big, like, exploding across the world kind of thing. And it's funny because The Secret isn't really the originator. Seth was, and Abraham Hicks, who were channelings of the collective, but out of it came this thing called The Secret, and they pulled in all these big names to share with you about the secrets of manifesting. Now, I don't like the word secret because I don't feel like it really is a secret. There is all sorts of information out there about manifesting if you really just dig into it. I feel like sometimes teachers and mentors like to not give you all the details, or they want to make it seem more complicated than it really is. But as you know, I'm all about the real talk, and I want to share those things that you need to hear to be able to take you to the next level, because it's about lifting each other up. As I always say, I am not trying to compete with you because I want you to win too. There is enough to go around. That is a big part too of the manifestation thing, knowing that there is enough to go around, and that actually leads into the number one thing that will up your manifestation game. Now, there is more than just one thing that's a kind of our foundation or our basics. And if you want to learn all 3 of them that I think are the big ones, then please jump over to my website, www.fromtheheartandsoul.com, and sign up for my newsletter. You will get access to Mantra and Manifestation, which is my basics of manifestation workshop. And it will give you all 3 foundations. But today we're just going to talk about the big one. And I think the biggest one is mindset. Mindset is huge, and it really affects us over all parts of our lives, not just in manifesting. It really does create this energy for us and creates our life. As I always say, where you put your focus, your energy flows. So if you're going to focus on the negativity, on the problems, all of that, that's where your energy is going to flow to. If you want to focus on the positives and where you really want to go in life and all those things that you're trying to manifest, that is where your energy is going to go. So it's important to be mindful of our mindset. Now, for me, there was a huge moment in my life where I recognized that mindset was a game changer. And in fact, it was actually a moment of life and death for me. When I gave birth to my second child, about 6 weeks postpartum, I ended up with a strep infection in my bloodstream. And please know that this was a total house of cards. It was just everything kind of lined up for this to happen, and it wasn't good. I was very, very sick. And after my second visit to urgent care, I was admitted into the ICU with a strep infection in my bloodstream, a clot in my ovarian artery, a severe case of pneumonia, as well as I went septic. I was in a lot of trouble and I didn't really know it. I was so sick that I wasn't really conscious or aware of how sick that I actually was. And maybe that's a good thing. But in that moment, and I can't speak to number of days and stuff because I was that sick. I really had no awareness of time or space. I was hallucinating. I was incredibly sick. I literally was on my deathbed, and I didn't know that. I had this amazing ICU nurse who, as I woke up and was just, I'm sure I had a miserable look on my face. She came over to talk to me and she said to me, only you can make the decision to get better. And until you make that decision, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to get better. And in that moment, I just felt so incredibly miserable. I didn't know what to do. So she had asked me, do you want to get better? And I was like, of course. And she said, then what can I do to help you? And I know this sounds really stupid, but I had this really horrible taste in my mouth, which I later learned that was from the IV medication that I was having, the antibiotics to get me better, that I was being pumped into me like 24/7. But it left this really nasty, nasty taste in my mouth. And I said that to her and she's like, can I get you a piece of gum? And she literally took a package of gum out of her purse and she put it on my table and gave it to me. And that selfless act that was so simple. It was a package of gum. What was it? 59 cents? Was the moment that things shifted for me. In that moment, I chose to no longer be that sick person in that hospital bed. In that moment, I chose to be the person who was going to fight for my life and to get better for my family and for myself. It was simply a choice that I made, and that is that. They didn't change the medications I was taking. Nothing else changed except for me. I chose that I didn't want to be there, that I didn't want to be sick anymore. Game changer for me. It was a huge moment, a huge awareness around the choices that I make and how they affect everything else. That there is this enormous trickle-down effect that we create. And I'm not saying that everything we choose in our life is going to affect us like to the maximum and yada, yada, yada. But I am saying that we can change things. I say it to my own kids and to my little kids at school when they come in with that grumpy look on their face. I say, you can choose to have a good day or you can choose to have a bad day. But if it was me, I'd choose to put a smile on my face and make the best out of today. And of course, my kids growl at me. They're my kids. The kids at school look at me like I'm a little crazy, but often they all will find a smile on their face eventually and shift their day. And if they don't, hopefully they can recognize that they chose to have that cruddy day. We can choose to wake up each morning and embrace the day for what it is, or we can choose to wake up each morning and fall back into the negativity and the down spiral that keeps us in this negative place. Mindset, our choices, it affects everything. Our mindset and our belief systems, which kind of go hand in hand, also can affect our manifestation because our belief systems is part of our mindset. I know, mindset's like this big, huge umbrella that can affect things. If you have a negative mindset or belief system around money and you're trying to manifest money into your life, well, you may have to heal some of those pieces around money before that really shifts and changes. And in the process of doing the healing work, we are shifting our mindset. Right? Big. Mindset is everything. And I know it's not just like this simple fix, right? Like, it takes work, it takes dedication. I like to call it soul work because really it's about digging into our soul to do the work that we need to do to get us to where we want to be. And for me, doing that work and feeling those feels is so important to get me to the other side. There are lessons in the feels. There was a podcast I was listening to, and it had on an author, Lisa Bilio, and she is this spicy British lady who I just adore. She wrote a book, Radical Self-Confidence, I believe is what it is, or Radical Confidence. I haven't gotten the book yet, but it's on my list. But she talks about this piece of making friends with the negative voice in your head, becoming the BFF to the negative voice in your head. And I was like, what? But I recognized that it was a mindset thing, and it kind of blew my mind. She said that when she would come up against the negative voice in her head, she'd be like, okay, thank you. What is the lesson in that? And she would recognize the lesson in the negative self-talk. So I think she talked about like giving a speech or podcast or something and getting off topic or taking too long to wrap it up or whatever. And so she was like, okay, what is the lesson in that? And how do I change that the next time? So instead of kind of going into that downward spiral, she acknowledged it for what it was and took it to the next level to take an upward spin and to create a positive mindset. And it was like absolutely mind-blowing for me. I was like, holy crap, that is really just taking that negative and turning it into a positive. There are lessons in the feels. There are lessons in the negative self-talk. There are lessons to be learned in the moments that we think we are failing, but the reality is that we are really learning and growing. That mindset piece is this huge umbrella that covers us under so many different other aspects of our lives and can make huge shifts and huge changes in our own lives. And it can make you a better manifester by acknowledging that piece of mindset. When we focus on the things that we believe about ourselves, when we focus on where we want to go and holding on to that energy of that, it brings us closer to it. Literally, where our focus goes, our energy flows. So we need to focus where we want to put that energy. If you focus on the reasons why you can't manifest things, or what the problems are, or why everybody else is getting in the way, what are the blocks, why it can't happen, well, you're just going to start creating more and more and more of that. So then the problems get bigger, the blocks get higher, the obstacles get harder to move around. But when you choose to focus on the positive, all of a sudden we find ways. Suddenly, those obstacles don't seem as big. Those blocks are lessons that we learn from and move past to get to the other side. Everything becomes clearer. Everything starts to have a greater ease as you move forward. Can you focus your energy where you want it to go? Can you focus on the thing that you are trying to manifest each and every day with a positive mindset? In a mindset that already acknowledges it as happened with gratitude and joy and trust. Imagine that it has already happened with gratitude, joy, and trust. I am telling you, when you start to acknowledge your mindset, where it is kind of getting in the way, where it is pushing you forward, where it is moving you with ease and grace, all of these things, when you can acknowledge those things, it is going to shift your manifestation game. Because I want to see you manifest the life of your dreams. And like I said, I'm not hiding any secrets. They're there. It's just a much longer talk. So jump on over to my website, www.fromtheheartandsoul.com, and sign up for my newsletter to get access to mantra and manifestation. It's going to give you the basic foundations of manifesting. I promise you, next month in June, we are also going to take manifesting to the next level. And that will happen in a workshop as well. It'll be partially live and partially online, but it's going to give you a lot more tools for manifesting as well. I truly believe that you can manifest the life of your dreams. I truly believe that our mindset can shift and change the way things happen. I'm going to share one more story with you because it's one of my faves, and it's more of a lighthearted one versus my first one. So manifesting, mindset. I was a single mom for a lot of years. I had 3 kids, and when I first became a single mom, my kids were all under the age of 10, and my littlest one was only 4. I was on a tight budget, and anything that needed to be done had to fit into that budget. And it was funny, whenever I would start to worry about money, my dryer would go on the fritz. And I owned my own house at the time. I had a very inexpensive, tiny little wartime bungalow in a small town, which didn't cost me a lot. But things like repairs were my responsibility because there was no landlord, right? So the dryer would act up every time that I would start to worry about money. And it would be interesting to see how far in the spiral downward I would go based on how bad the dryer would start acting up or need to actually be fixed. So it was like this piece for me that I could recognize that it was like the universe saying to me, hello, Chanel, you're worrying about money too much instead of allowing it to flow to you. And in that recognition, I then would be like, and I would go down and talk to my dryer and I'd be like, not happening. There is money flowing to me and I can afford to have this dryer fixed if I need to. I trust that the universe is providing for me and my family. And when it would break, I'd be like, that's okay. That's okay. And I would pick a number and that would be literally, I should have learned my lesson very early on that I would start picking a smaller number, but I didn't. But I would be like, oh, I can get you fixed for $150 and my bill would be like $149.59. Pick a low number. I just went with the number that I was being given. But it was this recognition that I could afford that $150. I knew that I could afford that to have the dryer fixed and it was cheaper than buying a new one. And it was like, again, it was this awareness of when my mindset around money was negative. It was the universe's way of saying, Chanel, pay attention to what you're putting out there because this is what's happening. So we can ask the universe for validation. We can ask the universe to give us signs, just like the dryer. If you have a piece in your mindset that you know is like a sticking point for yourself, ask the universe for a sign. Recognize that there's a sign that will come in each and every time and ask the universe what it is. Ask the universe what that sign is and recognize it when it comes to shift your mindset. You can do journaling. You can do meditations. There's lots of things that you can do to work on your mindset. Just start digging out there, reach out to me. I'm always happy to help and give you some tools that I love to use to shift your mindset and to work on manifestation as well. So again, number one tool, number one thing you can do to shift your manifesting game is work on your mindset. So my question to you today is, what is it that you are focusing your energy on? And how are you going to shift that if it's not headed in the place that you need it to be? And then, what is it that you're trying to manifest right now? I bet you it's something amazing. Thank you so much for joining me today on this episode of Directions from Your Spiritual Tour Guide. Again, remember to jump over to my website, sign up for that newsletter to get mantra and manifestation. Of course, weekly oracle card reading is up on YouTube every Monday and on social media. Social media, check out Card of the Day. And every Sunday is a pick a card reading. So lots of ways to connect with your spirituality and learn more about how to grow, how to tap into that spirituality each and every day to create a more beautiful and blessed life than you already are living. Thank you so much for joining me today. Again, my name is Chanel, and I'm coming to you from the heart and soul.